to Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dave Jones. How are y'all doing? We have another episode of the Black History Month Reflection podcast series. So this has actually been going on. I started this back in I think 2018, 19. And I basically, I haven't done as many this month as I have in prior years because I feel like we've built up a library now. Go back and check them out. It's the Black History Month Reflection Series, the Inside Abode podcast. That's all over the place. You can just go Google it, stream it, whatever you got to do. But today I'm really excited about our guest because this happened literally hours ago. This is Black excellence. This is just a talk. We're just talking about Black excellence, all things Black, but also not at the same time. It's just we're talking about regular stuff, and I want to introduce you to this person because he's amazing, and I think that y'all need to know who this person is. So, with that, my guest today is a realtor out of D.C. and 1/3 of the Coalition Properties Group. Harrison Beecher, how are you doing today, man?
Deacon, I'm grateful to be in a Thursday evening revival with you.
Yes, sir.
Happy to connect with the friends from the other Washington.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on short notice. I texted you not even in the morning. It was midday. I was like, hey, man. Because I was talking to Ann, I was just like, hey, I need somebody for this. And she was just like, yeah, well, Harrison would be good. I was like, man, okay, yeah, I'll hit him up. So anyway, yeah, she so you were up, you answered the call, man. That was dope. So I appreciate you.
And look, when Windermere Abode fam reaches out, love what y'all do. And I'm always grateful to be a part of any conversation, anything you create, man. So it's my
love,
pleasure.
Man. That's love. So let's just start. I'm going to get right into it, man. Let's just start with how did you get into real estate and what's your why behind that?
So I got in the summer of 2008, graduated from Georgetown University. My best friend's mom, a lady named Sherry Sivertson, was a broker. And she was looking at me and said, you know what, Harrison, I think this could work for you because my original plan, I was supposed to be Dr. Michael Air Dyson's personal assistant, actually. I had that as a senior year job. My senior year at Georgetown was his first year. In fact, in his book, April 14, 1968, I'm giving a shout out in the back of it because I was answering his phones the whole year. And I thought that Dr. Dyson was going to take care of me in a very Black culture way. I just assumed I was going to get hooked up without doing much research or other things.
Yeah.
Right? And he hit me up a month before graduation. Was like, Brother Bisha, love you, man. I'll write a reference for whatever you want, but I ain't got no job for you next year. I was like, oh, okay. I got to figure it out. And that's when I got into real estate. And it made sense for me because I had a way to pay my bills at night with nightlife. I was DJing, bartending, serving, so I could survive off of that money.
Right.
But then figure out the real estate thing during the day. And it wasn't one of those things where I was like, I'm made for this. This is awesome. But about 6 or 7 months into being licensed, when I had a month with 2 transactions in a row, and those 2 checks quintupled everything that I made from my nightlife stuff, I was like, oh, that's how this money can kind of work. And it was my first 2 transactions were really good friends. They were people. I was like, damn, I can make good money.
Dope.
And these are people that I like. And then I'm starting to get more leads and I'm seeing a pipeline start to build up. I'm like, man, I should really double down on it. I've just been fortunate to kind of continue to grow naturally. And then the partnership that we formed in 2019 with Keith and Ryan was much more thoughtful and strategic and kind of making that transition from entrepreneurial to purposeful of, saying what would it look like if we came together and grew something big, which, we have thus far. And it's been a beautiful ride.
That's dope, man. I mean, that's special. Just for those folks that are starting out or may have, maybe you're starting out right now, if there are any agents listening or watching, how long did it take you, for that from the time you got your license and you hung it somewhere to the first deal? How long did that take? And was that a tough go or did it come?
I was fortunate that I had income at that time. And the analogy I give to my new agents is if you're trying to jump or fly or do anything, you need to have your feet on solid ground. And not everybody can operate at a high level when you broke as a joke like Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness, right? So that's not a great place for people to be. So because I had my feet on solid ground with the other income, June of 2008 licensed, first closing would not have been until November or December of 2008. So I had a
Okay.
6-month window.
Okay.
But then from that November, December 2008 for the whole next calendar year, it was over like 1.5 mil in production, which at the time was
Damn.
life-changing money.
Yeah.
And that was like 5 transactions in DC. Like, it's not that much. But like, you know, it's funny. I joke with my team now and say, don't be like me with your first couple checks and be smarter. That time was when Plies, the rapper, had a song. The hook was like, "What's in my pocket, dog? Big face hundreds." And I like took a picture of my commission check, my whole commission check, and posted that somewhere while singing a Plies song. And the check was like,
man.
1,500, bro. Check was like not life changing, but you couldn't tell me.
Oh
nothing,
yeah, you couldn't
right?
tell me that.
It was
Not
great.
Plies though. It was Plies.
Oh yes, Busted Baby Plies era, man.
Oh yeah,
like,
Busted Baby's a joint though. That's a jam. I'm not even gonna lie. Like you put that on right now, everybody got it. You just go to that time. You know what I mean?
dude.
Like,
Oh man, Plies is a hood poet and brilliant philosopher of our generation.
He's Plies. It's been interesting, and this is a tangent, but Plies has been interesting how he has pivoted. And I respect a lot of dudes that took social media and learned how to pivot and use their charisma to further their brand or further their platform.
Well,
and I
character, right? The character, because there's the character that is Plies that we see and appreciate. But then he'll come back with some thoughtful, deeper stuff, and it's funny because he starts to live out the meme, right? That's like on Sunday morning he's Kirk Franklin, on Friday night, Saturday night. He's Plies because there's more to him. There's definitely more depth, especially with Black Lives Matter around George Floyd. Like the things he was saying some thoughtful and good stuff, but then went right to some ratchetness right after, which is Black culture. It's all of that, right? It's all of those things at once.
He's a smart brother, man. I think there's a lot of smart brothers out there that are playing the role or just like that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like just because you either if you're from the South and you got a draw or whatever, like that don't mean you're dumb. Like you don't know what you're talking about. There's some smart cats, man. Like
very smart.
I really got a lot of respect. But going back to like the real estate piece, thank you for answering that, by the way, because we have a lot of people that are starting out new and fresh, and in this market specifically, like right now, it's a tougher market. We went from the lowest rates historically, and everybody was buying a house to like now you actually got to be a realtor again. Like you got to put in the grind, put in the work every day. So how did your like all of that stuff that you talked about in the past, like being working before you got into real estate, how did that play a role in how you operate your business now? Did you take anything from that, or whether it's sports or anything from the past? And what was the most important thing that in how you operate now?
I think the most important thing I got from all those past experiences really came from hospitality. And I think probably specifically when I would DJ. The interesting part about DJing, right, is that you have to be in tune with a lot of people, but you also have to be aware of the client who's paying you. So there's going to be some people that may not like you, may not be for everybody, but as long as you focus on the experience that the client wants at that time, you're going to be golden. So a focus on the highest level customer service experience that somebody can have translates to so many things. Restaurants, right? Nightlife, you go into a hotel, right? All these different things, it matters. DJing, real estate is the same. So like, I just always thought like, how can I not just do a good job with them, but do such a good job that they want to tell their friends about me and their friends' friends, and then think about some strategic ways to make it easier for them to tell other folks about me. One of the things I did when I was DJ, Dave, back in the day, I would always give, because I did a lot of weddings, and mom and dad pay for weddings a lot. I would burn a CD of their, back in the day when you burned a CD, of all of their songs, right, an MP3, printed out a playlist, a track list of what I actually played because people wanted it, and then I would include another single page flyer with my real estate card on it. It said simply, you thought I did a great job and gave you a great experience for your wedding. Whenever you want to buy, sell, or invest anything in real estate, I'd love to help you. Because I did like 80 weddings or so, I was able to convert probably like 25 to 30 of those into clients. And now it's been the trifecta, folks, where I DJ'd their wedding, sold them their first house, sold their first house, helped them buy their second house. And I've just stayed in their life because at each step, it was a really high level customer service experience and then community. Like we were connected after. So I think all of those customer service pieces really helped us structure what we do for clients today that keeps them wanting to come back and has them want to bring their friends and family into what we're helping them do.
That's dope, man. Yeah, well, what that tells me is that you're a hustler and you know how to put two and two together. I think that connection that you just made with like the DJ and doing the MP3s, like that's different. Like you ain't the same as a lot of people. I'll just be honest. But like, cause like back in my day, so like I was an entrepreneur. I say this a lot on the podcast. People probably sick of me talking about this. Like Dave, you talk about this all the time. I was an entrepreneur, working in the school system, but I've always been an entrepreneur. Like I just didn't know it. So like I would cut hair and then give people a mixtape. Back then it was tapes, like pause mixtapes. Like I made that joint with love, and I couldn't duplicate it necessarily. So like when you got that was like for you, and you got a haircut for $10, right? Yeah. So you walking out with music and a haircut. And then I started burning CDs, and so so that's where the Deacon came from. Oh,
we gotta talk about that, yeah, because I definitely have the CD burning hustle too.
Deacon Jones was like the old player football player, Deacon Jones. My brother used to call me Deacon, and then I used to make mixtapes and stuff. So then it just stuck, and then hooping and whatnot. But like, yeah, I've always been the mixtape dude. So like, all I'm doing with the videos now, I just add a video to it because I'm really big on music. I'm a music head, so like. Even now, like I listen to all types, everything. Yeah, I'm a hip hop head first and foremost, but like I listen to everything. I respect everything. I like everything. But when you talk about experience, it really resonated with me because even when we, like in our office, like I'm very cognizant as a consumer and a person, like wherever I walk into, what music is being played because and
how it sounds and the clarity,
how it sounds, the vibe, it sets the vibe, right? So like I'm very big on that. So like I'll walk into anywhere, and that's just something that I don't think a lot of people understand why they like where they're at, but like that's a lot of it is because of the music, in my opinion, the ambiance that it creates.
It sets the mood. It sets what you will remember about it. It's those subtle details. Like that's where with our events, I don't think anyone else puts time, thought, effort, and hours, you probably do too, to the different segments of music that people are going to hear at our events. I got a warm up, I got a launch. Like when I structured my wedding playlist, I had it in 5 segments, right? Yeah. Here's a warm up, cocktail, here's the bangers at the top, here's the things you didn't expect, here's the cool down, right? Like here's the whole thing. And that, and what I play now, and even for NAR, I actually had a cool opportunity a couple of years ago with Realtor Magazine to craft an open house playlist. And I was thoughtful to make it a little bit funkier than your boring ass music that you hear in a elevator. Sometimes the elevator music's decent, but like think about it. When you go in an elevator and you hear something different, you're like, ooh, this. What is this? All the time. So like that's that extra level of thought and detail in terms of the experience somebody has is what makes our client events. Like, and even at my local association, Dave, when I got installed last year, I came out to Kendrick DNA. Right? Like that's how I walked in. I let it play for 30 whole seconds. I'm like, not at the beginning, like you bang them the whole time. Yeah. And they're like, oh man, this is different. This feels different. And then whatever you're doing next, just like eases you into it. And I love it. It makes me feel better, especially before I present. This morning, we did awards this morning. I had to pick the songs for me and everybody else. And I'm immediate past president, so I went for Diplo and Miguel, Don't Forget My Love, because it's a great song. And I just left y'all, but don't forget my love. I'm here. I'm with you all the time. So there's, I think, both vibe, energy, and lyric, how that lyric is saying something I want you to say here now too.
Man,
we talk hours about that.
It's so nice to talk to somebody that gets it. Like I just dropped a video. I did a little mix for a dude, Keyshawn Johnson on San Diego State. We'll be watching him in the tournament. And the song actually just dropped, Neek Bucks, and I never heard Neek Bucks before that, but I was just going through and I heard it, and it was the very first track. So like, ooh, and then what he was talking about in the song, I read Keyshawn's story. So I only went down there to visit my boy one time. It's because he was at San Diego before, and then now he's at San Diego State just helping out there, and who knows what's next for him. But like, I read dude's story. He's from Oakland, you know what I mean? He's had some things go on like in his life that could have set a lot of people back, right? Obviously it didn't with him. He's different. But, the song I chose was very in tune with and aligned with his story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that detail, that connection.
It's that detail. Like, and that's why it's different. Like, people don't understand why it's different. I'm giving everybody the jewels right now, but the problem is my catalog goes deep.
It goes deeper.
I'm a music discovery person, so I'm all the way from back in 3rd grade to now. Like, yes, I'm 44 now, so that's That's a lot of music. That's
A whole
decades and
library.
decades worth of catalog that I got in my head.
TV show. I will be so excited if you see it and know High Maintenance, the HBO TV show. High
I've seen, yeah, yeah.
The scoring, how they score that song, like
Okay.
it's one of many. HBO always does a great job with scoring and the music that they put to set the
do.
mood and tell the story. Like
do.
how to Make It in America, How to Make It in America from a couple
Oh,
years
man,
ago.
I
Because they
love
introduced me to Aloe Black. I Need $1. And then I
Yes,
saw
yes,
Aloe,
yes,
and then I was
yes,
DJing. I introduced it to me. I introduced Aloe Black to people, and I saw him play in
Yes.
DC. But nobody, it was a tiny venue before he was big. Like that's dude. In the moment, in the song was perfect.
That's where I heard I Need $1 first. Yeah.
Right, and you remember
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man,
No, that
watch
show was
all
dope,
of High
man.
Maintenance for the scores and the songs, like their soundtrack. They have a Spotify playlist. I'm gonna send you. That's all of their songs from the show.
Dope.
Perfect.
I love Insecure for that same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I didn't realize Raphael Sadiq did. You know, he helped out with the score on that, and so
Yeah.
like, and I had a couple people that I knew that were kind of in the running to have some songs in that, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
didn't plan out probably, but still, like, just the amount of thought they put into the music,
Dude.
just drove that show for me personally. But
It makes a complete AV experience when the music
Yes.
is done right, and that's why, like in my house, every large TV we have, I've got sub sound. Like I need round sound. If I walk into a place and your sub is like fucking excuse me, is like in your sub, I can't stay there. I will literally go try to fix it. We went into a gym for our team workout thing, and they had their stuff way overdone. The bass was turned up too high. I'm like, where is your
Yeah.
equalizer? Like I can't stay here if it's like this.
I'm dying because it's the same thing, man. Like, and the funny thing is as an editor now, like I understand, you know, like when I watch TV now, I almost can't, like, you can make people emote with your videos, just based on the songs that you put in, the music that you put in there. It's so, it's fascinating because now that I do it, I can watch a TV show. Like I'm on Snowfall season 3 right now. I need to catch up and like get through that. But, you know, they do a little bit of emoting with music in that one, and that's why I didn't start it at the first. I was like, it's a little too overproduced because I'm a Wire head. The Wire to me is the GOAT because they didn't do like any emoting with music in that whole entire show, which
Except for the title track in the
Yes,
different
yes.
seasons, who sang
Yes,
it and the detail of
yes,
each. Oh,
yes,
bro,
yes.
like it's
and it was the same song though.
same song,
but it was
same
different
song,
every
but a
single.
different.
Yeah,
That is the. Oh man, so many people didn't understand. I have the whole Wire soundtrack. Like I had the actual CDs that I would take and play, and just being family in Baltimore, like it's close enough. My mom worked in Baltimore, so like I've seen. In fact, where they filmed one of the scenes with the Greek at the end in that diner, that's actually the Fort Howard VA. Oh, the boss is in the building. What's
got-
up?
Harrison, it's date night tonight, so y'all have to cut this podcast off short.
I only got a couple more questions. So this is the first time ever that we've had Ann come in and disrupt the podcast. This is a first time in 3-year history
It won't be the last.
disruption of a
But
podcast.
it's date night. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's
I
at
mean,
the
this
timer.
podcast this was my idea, so I should get
Yeah,
to like
it was
pop in.
your idea.
I'm
Like
glad you
most
were
things.
available.
It's my pleasure. That's what I said. Whenever the Windermere Abode fam calls, I am there with
Yeah,
pleasure.
I got a couple more
Okay,
questions,
I'll,
and then we'll.
I'll step out.
Yeah.
Date
See
night.
you, Harrison.
Good to see you too. When the boss steps in, you know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I already know. So, what people don't. Well, man, we could go down. We could talk music all day.
Sorry, we can come back to.
Oh, it's all good. That's what this is about, man. I want people to be a fly on the wall and people just talking. You're an advocate on many fronts. So talk about some of the things that you're doing in your advocacy work, because I know you to be, you know, you're up front and really doing a lot of cool stuff in that field.
Yeah, I think because I earned some clout and visibility and leadership positions through real estate sales, through stepping up in association leadership spaces, it has granted me an interesting opportunity to be invited to talk at both a state and local level about policy that impacts Black people. In D.C., and again, we're a pretty progressive city, Black female mayor, lots of things, but we also have a lot of disparity, right? A lot of like money, like everywhere, right? Is really, there's a very Black part of town and poorer part of town and a very white and richer part of town. And the question came up over the last couple of years is, what are we as a city that claims to be progressive going to do about it? So the mayor made a Black homeownership strike force. That's probably the most interesting and biggest scale thing I've been able to be a part of, because it was asking the question, what do we have to do to set goals to increase Black home ownership rate in the city? There's $10 million of ongoing funds that are built into the budget, but then we got to think creatively about how we can turn 10 million, because as you know, 10 million ain't that much to solve housing problems, but when leveraged the correct ways and when framed the correct ways to get more people to do things with it and in conjunction and multiply, it can come up. So for me, I think of my lived experience. I think of my grandparents. I think of, people from the deep South, rural Virginia, that their ownership and the things they were able to achieve against a lot of odds and sometimes at risk of their own health and life is something I never take for granted, and that I want folks now to have, a better runway and access to opportunity. That's the core of my advocacy work, because when there is more opportunity for disenfranchised people of all kinds, but specifically Black folks, there is more business. There's so many good things that come from it. And as you know, it's not a pie. Like when you take, when some people have more, it's not taking away from others. And I just want to use my position and visibility to hopefully give common sense and thoughtful strategies and ideas. And because I'm validated, right? Because people know that I know what I'm talking about because of business success. Hopefully that gives them space to listen to me about a lot of other issues like racism, discrimination, all the things that are happening anyway. But a lot of things to answer in that. But the mayor's strike force is probably the most impactful thing I've been a part of in the last couple of years.
That's really dope, man. That's huge, because we're doing the same. Like the last podcast in this series was about the Black Home Initiative when I talked with Jasmine, and we were talking about it's the same thing where we're trying to increase Black home ownership, right?
3 for 30. 3 million so, new Black home owners by the year 2030 nationally.
So what? So basically, with that work, I guess you're in D.C. So what's the demographic like? Because where we're at, there's not as many Black people, so it's a different setting in terms of going about this work. What's that look like because your demographic is how many Black people are in, like in terms of
it did in 2019 or 2020, DC finally became a non-majority Black city by the numbers. It was over 50%, but again, that's just a combination of many factors, right? It's both gentrification, which is a market force, but then also there were waves in the 80s and 90s of the people, Black folks, intentionally moving out of the city for a better life and better opportunity for their families in the burbs. So, there's a lot of different elements to it, but now Black is still, it is now no longer a majority Black city. And it is still a little more mixed because we have a lot of different ethnicities represented, but it is not, more than 50% Black, which it was forever, basically.
That's crazy, man. I can't even I can't even imagine living in a place that'd be so dope. Like, I don't, because where we're at, it's, the demographics we're talking about, I don't know, just throwing it off the top of my head, 12%. Like, let me look that up. Hold up. Let me, I don't want to just throw it. 10%, this census, 10.3% Black, right? So like when we're doing this work, we're like in the midst of white supremacy. You know what I mean? Like I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's not like it's a hard, so there's more of a risk, I guess, if you will, because our client base is predominantly white at the end of the day. So if we have 10% Black people and about 33% of those folks own homes, a Black realtor in our in the state of Washington is trying to start out and if you're working a referral based type system, or you can do there's other systems out there where you're doing a lot of calling and cold calling, but if your network is your net worth, like Jay-Z says, that's, and only 33% of the 10% own, like that's not going to be good. It's a tough road. So we're trying to figure out how we make those.
And for what you got to do to, earn a living and help people, right? If an initiative you're pushing does not actually touch the lives of a lot of folks there, it makes it a lot harder for it to be real. Right. And in DC it does. I did actually just look up the 2022 census stats. So of our just over 700,000 population, in 2022 it was 300,000 Black, 295,000 white. Next highest group was Latino, of all different kinds, and around
Yeah.
36,000 Asian, 31,000, and the mix to make up the rest of it. So that is still like, Black is the biggest chunk, but it was always over 50% until last year.
The
Until a couple
crazy
years
part,
ago.
though, the crazy part is that you're still talking about the same things we're talking about, and someone will go, "Well, it's fine. There's no." It's like, no, it don't matter. Like, it still happens everywhere, and you're predominantly, you have a lot of Black people over there,
Well, and
we
a
have
lot of
very
rich
little.
Black folks too. Like that's the thing you talk about, like
Yeah,
affluence
I
and
love
opportunity, but
I
the
love that.
disparity is the craziest part.
Yeah.
And I think in America we have been fortunate to travel the world and see other countries, and you go to a place like Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, right, where rich and wealth disparity is like really stark and obvious. Like you're on Ipanema Beach and you're looking at a favela where people aren't even counted. But then I
Right.
go to D.C. and I'm standing at the Capitol building, and 15 blocks away, there are projects where is that kid even counted in the same way? Like
Right,
it looks prettier,
right.
they got running water, but
Right.
life expectancy details, like a lot of other demographic data, it tracks like surprisingly along similar lines to third world countries in
Yep.
DC. Health, like all these other things. So
Yep.
that's why, that is my quick retort to why it still matters and why we still have work that needs to be done. It's like because little black boy, my son, right? When he grows up, and even if he doesn't get much melanin, I hope he can tan a little bit later. But as a Black man, like just on paper, his life expectancy is less. That's BS.
It's
like,
funny,
that's crazy.
man. I was telling my son the other night, we were just driving around and he didn't have his license on him. I was just like, "You don't have your license on you." He's like, "Well, we were out here. We were changing the battery in the car."
Yeah.
Because his battery went out, whatever. So I was like, "All right, we'll change it tonight and I'll go get the battery, whatever." So as we're doing it and we're driving back to go take the battery back, he didn't have his license. And then, you know what conversation came up
The
then.
talk.
I was like,
The talk. Yeah.
So
Huh.
I was like, you need to hit the talk. I don't even need to
talk.
tell you like, this is for the audience. So then I was like, my grandma used to always say, you need to have your license on you or your ID on you at all times. Like, she was really adamant about it. And so I was doing the same thing to him, and I was telling him all the reasons why. And I was like, okay, your friend Lucas, when you and Lucas are driving, because he's now braided up too, my son, and he's 6'3".
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you and Lucas are driving, the cops ain't really going to trip on you as much as when you and Angel, or you and your friend Javion, or you and your friend, all these other friends who are Hispanic and Black and whatever. You're gonna stand out because you're driving, and he doesn't realize he's driving it for a high schooler. I'm like, it's a Honda Pilot. You're driving a pretty nice car, man. Like just trying to connect all the dots for him, because they are mixed white and Black. They're biracial, and have lighter melanin, but still, I was like, it don't.
They got to drop. You're not like clearly white. Like, I mean, that's
You're never gonna be called white, even though you need to understand and respect and honor your white heritage, and I'm all about that, right? But like, you're never gonna be called white ever in your life,
especially as a man. Like, I think as a young ethnic man, Black man of any kind, the rules are different. And it's not fair, right? But I think the last few years showed us that the rules and what people think about the box they will throw you into means you have to operate and think and do differently, because one scary dude that is going to victim or weaponize the 6'3" ethnic man, right? And can completely screw up his life. And that's the thing that really around a lot of the racial reckoning 2020, 2021, that was one of my dominant thoughts. I was like, well, I know the rules of how you're supposed to interact with police, and I didn't even think for a while about how messed up that was, that those are just the rules that exist. And I'm curious to see how Gen Z continues, because I feel like your son's generation and beyond is kind of pushing it, saying, well, those status quo and the way those rules were is terrible. It sucks. But I'm like, if those are still the rules that those cops operate by, we have to act within a set that is protecting ourselves and coming back home. And I'm like, pride over principle and making a
that's what I told him. He didn't have his insurance. He didn't have his insurance card. And I'm like, bro, you've been driving and not knowing where your insurance was this whole time. What am I doing? I'm failing as a father right now, personally. Right. But like, we had a good night, man. We ended up, it was a late night, and Dad's tired, but like, because we were running around, like trying to get this all situated. I was trying to help, have him do a lot of it. I could have knocked it out and real quick, but I wanted to make sure that he got that experience. But yeah, it was just a good talk, man. And I think it's important for other people to hear that. Like, I know you already said, oh, you had the talk. It's like, I had the talk. We've had that talk multiple times. It's not the first time we've had the talk. It's been multiple times, but this time.
And the fact that it still has to be said over and over again, it just reinforces like a lived truth. And that was with a lot of convos we had over the last few years. People saying like, aren't things better or different, or you're rich, or you're this, or look at you. It's like, no, man, like I can't ignore or deny like a lived truth and things that are real for my family or my best friends. Or like these, this is not like anecdotes or random. Like I've had smart, educated, awesome, well-intentioned, doing the right stuff friends of mine that are young black men that are sitting on the curbs with handcuffs for no reason. Right? And I've seen that. So that informs how I'm always going to show up, and informs what I'm going to say to my son, and how he operates, especially if we're riding to go visit your family in rural Alabama, rural Virginia. The rules are real different out there, right? Like, man, I'd imagine in Tacoma and further out parts of Washington, because I know it changes.
It gets rural real quick, and and it turns into the same stuff. So, it's just, I think we're on the right trajectory, though. I am optimistic. I mean, why would I not be optimistic? What's the other option, to be negative about it? I think we have the internet. We have history now being told that was not told before. We have clip. I just saw a new clip yesterday of some Klan rally in Madison Square Garden or something like that. And I'm like, man, in like 1934, I was like, man, I didn't even know this existed. So there's so much stuff that we're learning. On to the next, so you've been active in NAR, so the National Association of Realtors. What do you do within that organization, and how do you move within there, and how has it helped your career?
So for the 22 to 23 calendar year, I'm the co-vice chair, so many acronyms, of the Meetings and Events Committee. And that was something I was really excited to be a part of, because there are two major conventions or meetings that realtors come to around the country. One is the annual convention that happens in November. This year it's going to be in Anaheim. So I know y'all were just down there a couple of days ago.
We just missed you, man.
I know. It just was like hours. It's going to be in Anaheim, and that's 20,000 realtors from around the country that come to both have governance meetings, network, learn, be inspired. And if I can bring this same energy of planning and details to making that better and attract even more people to want to come to it, then I think I'll have a win. So the next 2 years I get to help hopefully make that better. It is in Anaheim this year and Boston next year. So those should be good. And then the mid-year one, that's in May, we get to actually help plan that. So some of the major sessions where everybody is together, one thing I'm implementing right away, or I've requested, is the ability to curate playlists or actually real-time DJ myself to change the energy in that boring meeting that happens. Surprise them with some bass. I don't want to hear that same Imagine Dragons song on loop 8 times, right? And Imagine Dragons are great.
I like Imagine Dragons. Don't get me wrong, they make those joints,
but not the same song 6 times. So there's that. And then, like I said, I was immediate past president for my local association. And at the state level, I've served on a couple different committees. And the reason why I do it is, for one, just a better understanding of how all of this works. If there is a brand or something I'm a part of, which is a realtor brand, wanted to learn the history of it, wanted to learn the in and outs, the power of the Realtor Political Action Committee and the lobby is, whole separate convo we can go down, like that he controls the money that the politicians get, has the ear of the politicians, has a lot of significant control in the country. So that was one of my most direct ways to understand politics at a higher level, was getting involved with the Realtor Association, because I've served on RPAC committees and stuff in the past, just to see how these literally millions of dollars flowing work, and how the people that are the conduits in between can earn themselves conversations, connections, and relationships that I'd have no business in otherwise. And then friends, man. I would not know you and Ann. I would not know some really awesome practitioners from around the country had I not chosen to give my time, talent, and effort to NAR. So it's been really great for me to meet folks and learn a lot, and start to have some significant impacts, hopefully, in just how it is running for the future.
That's dope, man. Well, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I think that it's important for everyone to know that you're in there doing that work, because someone might not understand, or it might actually, just what you just said, might have someone get involved. And so when you said you guys are gonna be in Boston, I think I might have to come to that one so I can tap in with Phipps, because when I was in Massachusetts, I drove up to Rhode Island to meet up with Phipps, and went to the house, and we hung out.
They're the best, man. The whole Phipps family, so good in music, culture,
people, man.
Like, dude, they're like, we gotta add you. He's got a rap Genius's Facebook group. We're just sharing like underground stuff and opinions on things. I'm gonna make sure you're added in because he's
got me in, man. We were talking all night, like about just all the things.
Dude, he's in his library, his knowledge base of music stuff too.
It's deep because he didn't know. He was like, "Oh, you know who Mr. Lift is?" I was like, "Man, bro, I listened to all of that." Like, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know people on your side were even on that." I was like, "Man, all that Boston Beantown stuff, like I was on all of it," and so we were just going on and on. But yeah, that's my guy. All right, so as per my wife, I need to get out
date
of
night.
This, but I have one more segment.
Okay.
It's called Hot Take. So on Hot Take, I'm just gonna give you an either or question. You just gotta pick one.
Okay.
And that's just what it is. Are you ready for Hot Take?
Let's do it.
All right. More legendary, Air Force Ones or Chuck Taylors?
Air Force Ones because of my age. Right? Like again, I'm born in the 80s. If I feel like had I been born in the 70s or earlier, then I could have seen Chuck Taylors deployed on more significant people and like actually used in basketball games because I feel like they were at one time. Yeah. Air Force Ones again between Nelly, between the shoe that I idolized in the late 90s, early 2000s when I could first start to afford them. It was Air Force Ones, and then now seeing their resurgence with all the colorways and other things people are doing and the off whites, like Air Force One. Yeah,
I have a hot take for you on that. I think the Jordan 1 is the new Chuck Taylor.
It is.
Well, that's another one.
That is my dress shoe everywhere.
That's a hot take.
Jordan 1s. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Jordan 1s are the new Chuck Taylors of this generation. All right. Would you rather go back to 2022 or 2020 and relive it?
Ooh, that's hard. You know what? In hindsight, too many people died in 2020. I can't say that. So I'm gonna have to say 22 because we were back outside, we were doing things, and my son was born. So yeah, 22. Yeah, 22 was a special year for a lot of it. It sucked at the end from a business perspective, but the first 3 months of the year, my son was born in January, so like it made the first half of the year amazing.
Yep. All right, man. What's better, 80s music or 90s music?
Oh, you're mean with that one, man. Again, I'm gonna have to just go to what I have like put my hands on more, which would be 90s music. In Georgetown, I used to DJ a 90s night and made it a thing at the bar where I was at. So I've still got like hours, days of 90s playlists that go deep from like the stuff you heard on the radio to like boy band beginnings to even soft rock stuff around that time. Like there was a wide range of things in the 90s, but the 80s is really special too. But I just
80s was special. Man.
It's got to be 90s for me.
It's 90s for me too. But so the 90s for me, I was in the middle of the grunge era. Like I don't think my kids realize. Like I see, when I went to Phipps's house, his daughter, one of his twin daughters, comes walking down the stairs. She's wearing a Nirvana shirt, and I'm like, dude, what you know about Nirvana? Like I was there. Like it was happening right here. And I was still middle schoolish, so I wasn't like in the car headed up to the shows and stuff. But like you couldn't go. You go to the mall, Pearl Jam, big old stand thing is there. Their number one album in the
dude. That's the epicenter of grunge, the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, the Pacific Northwest, the epicenter of grunge. And in DC, punk rock. Punk rock was actually pretty significant. Like Dave Grohl is from DC, right? So like punk rock, it was an interesting punk rock scene in DC, and because of my private school, for high school and beyond, I was exposed to a lot of like in my parents' house. They never listened to none of that, but then I got to actually learn and appreciate lots of different early alternative and punk rock from the 90s because that's some great music too.
No, and I got a bag, you know what I mean? I don't go deep in those other genres, deep, but like,
but you can be there,
I can go fair, I'm respectable. All right, this next one might be a little bit easier, maybe not. Chipotle or McDonald's?
Chipotle. Yeah, I just like salsa pico de gallo was probably my last meal type deal. It would be like really fresh pico de gallo is what I like more than anything.
All right, and I actually don't even talk about this subject anymore, but the last one is LeBron or MJ? GOAT.
LeBron. Again, he is when I was playing high school ball and wanted to come up, he's 1 year older than me, so I've grown up with him. I've seen what he's done from a sustaining a high level of play perspective. He is the greatest of all time.
I'm going to clip this, and this is going to be on one of the clips to get people to watch the show because you are my guy. You are exactly. I think I understand why people like MJ. I was an MJ GOAT guy, and I was fighting all the old heads about him when he had one ring. You know, I was just like, he's the best player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
LeBron story is American folklore. It's not just about basketball. It's American folklore.
So much bigger than basketball.
From a business perspective,
and what he's doing with his sons now. Come on, dude. That's what makes him. That's what makes him the GOAT. And the shop, dude, it's in all the content. Yes, his movie sucked. I'm sorry, Space Jam was terrible. We can say that. We can admit that. We can admit that, right? But Jordan made some terrible shoes over the years too. Not every Jordan is amazing. We can say that too.
There was some nasty Jordans in there, man.
The 3s. What are there were some ugly ones that just came out with some lows. I'm like, why would you even bring those back? That's not good.
There's a lot of them that they come out with. I'm like, man, just let the cement 3s actually dropped a shock drop this morning, and I don't buy J's anymore like that. But I have some ones. I got some ones chilling on ice and stuff. But the 3s, the cement 3s, came out this morning on the sneakers app. And I just opened up my sneakers app and it was just there. I was like, what? And I just had to go buy because those are my favorite, the cement 3s. But
those DJ Khaled ones that were out a week ago, I saw someone had them in Anaheim, and I just was like,
Hey, hot take here too. I think the LeBron 20 is the best LeBron shoe ever, potentially. Because not to hoop in, I can't hoop in them personally because I'm big and I need all the air bubbles and stuff underneath.
Yeah.
But those are. I have a pair and they're the ones.
See, they're too much like the Mamba.
They are like Kobe's.
And Kobe's.
Yeah, those are not.
Kobe's. I got a pair of the black and silver, which Mambas they are. I got them right around the time he passed away, and I can't even walk around in them, bro. They're No, I got flat, wide feet. I need the bubbles. Same.
I got flat. I need orthotics. I need all the cushioning underneath, below. Give me all that. All right, man. Well, thank you for participating in Hot Take. You survived. I appreciate it. But yeah, man, this is your time to shine. Give people your elevator pitch. Give you your plug. How they can get in touch with you. How they can listen to the podcast. We didn't even get to touch on the podcast.
We can plug that first. So All Blends Perfectly. Let the liquor tell it. Is our new podcast at All Blends Perfectly on all social media and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Is me and my partners just talking greasy, talking about life, having a great time, laughing, making fun of each other, which is a lot of fun, and talking some business and real estate too. You can get to me on Instagram at HL Beach. That's my preferred. And again, we service Washington D.C, Maryland, Northern Virginia, basically from Baltimore to Richmond. My sales team is here to take care of you, and anyone you connect us with and refer us to will be part of the coalition community. We throw the absolute best client events where people come, make friendships, learn to love each other, learn to know their community, and have outstanding music, food, and culture. For our March event, we're highlighting Black women-owned businesses and doing giveaways for them as well. So all of the details are considered at all times, and it's good time too. So
you a pro, man. I hope people are taking notes right now. I hope people are taking notes because my man Harrison's a pro, man. Well, I appreciate you being on short notice, and this was dope. I really appreciate it, man. You've dropped a lot of gems, but also we meandered a little bit, but this is just what it is.
Hey man, that's how it goes. It's a good combo, bro.
That. So I appreciate you, man. So that'll do it. All right. Thank you for listening in, ladies and gentlemen. That's a wrap for Inside Abode Black History Month Reflection Series. Coalition Properties Group represent Harrison Beecher. Go check them out. And with that, on to the next. Peace.